Just so everybody is well aware of the ridiculous lengths my family have gone to in the last 9 years since 2015 to cover up that they've broken the law. For an example, they've broken privacy, confidentiality, prying laws, defamation, and my family have defamed me as well. So many years ago, there was a discussion made. So I'm going to focus here on my last name. Now, I will correct everybody who thinks my last name's anything other than Flemming. My last name, since I was born, has always been, so my surname is Flemming, spelt with two M's. Flemming. My father is my mother's first husband, Mark Ian Flemming. My father's father, who I also remember very well growing up, Stanley Flemming. Stanley Flemming ended up being an orphan, but his name still was Stanley Flemming. And he was raised by Edith Kavanagh, 20 Botany Road, Botany Bay. Now, when I moved into Surrey Hills, let me show you. This is all history on the Flemming name. When I moved into Surrey Hills back in 2006, okay, up the road from where I lived, 518 so I lived in 392 Cleveland Street, Surrey Hills. Bob, this Lebanese guy who I met in Bunnings, that's how we first met. He was at 518 Cleveland Street in Surrey Hills, and we got chatting. Nice to catch up with him and his boyfriend, Rob Van Erden. Rob Van Erden, like when we first met, and I said my name's Justin Flemming. He goes, show me how it's spelled. Basically, it was him. He goes, you know where that's from in Eastern Europe? He goes, where's your history? I said, oh, no idea, because Dad's father's an orphan. So my dad's father doesn't know his parents, but his name is Stanley Flemming, but Dad's father doesn't know his parents. So it ends there. So it goes myself, my dad, my pop. And then that's it. We don't know my great-grandparents because, and all I know is what my dad's mother's brother told me. So Uncle George Hill, which is my dad's mother, Ruby, who's married to Stanley Flemming, her brother said to me, and her brother came and stayed with me in Surrey Hills. So Uncle George, Dad came and stayed with me in Surrey Hills, and Uncle George came and stayed, and we're talking about the family history. And he said, look, when it comes to Pop, because it was very close to Pop, Stanley, he said, what records will be to do with your Pop the Kavanagh family would have. So Edith Kavanagh is a spinster. She's a spinster. Her family, so I know her family are big in the nautical industry. There's names named after the Kavanaghs in Botany Bay. They owned a massive big chunk of land in Botany Bay next to the church. And there's a big house that she lived in by herself, and she used to take in ethnic orphan boys, is what Uncle George said. And your Pop was one of those. So Uncle George, who is my Pop's brother-in-law, was very close to my Pop. And he said, so where it comes from, and this is where it comes from. He said, so the information I have, and I've asked Dad's older sister, Sharon, this, and she said, look, I don't have any of that information. I don't know. But I said, well, this is what Uncle George told me. So we do know our last name's Flemming. But it's what I've kept saying for years with people. So what I am saying is the truth, and everyone gets confused when they ask people like my mother. Stop asking my mother about my father's side of the family. My mother's an idiot. She doesn't know anything. My father's my mother's first husband. She doesn't know a thing about her first husband's family. My mother is so obsessed with her second husband's family and always has been. She has no idea about me, which I'm from her first husband. She has no idea about her first husband's family, unless my mother can make money from it and gain. So unless my mother can, rort my father, Mark Ian Flemming, out of some more money, she's not interested. She doesn't care about her children from her first marriage. So stop asking my mother and ask me. So Uncle George Hill, came and stayed, and he said, look, there was a guy there who your pop used to say was his brother. So raised by Edith Kavanagh as well. He said it wasn't his, biological brother, Uncle George said, but this guy was Maltese. And Uncle George Hill said they had a falling out when your auntie Sandra started dating. So my dad's older sister started dating Barry Johnson. This is back when they lived in Parramatta. And they had, so apparently, this is, I've asked other family members, they said, I don't know about this. I said, well, Uncle George told me so. He said that they were at Rainbow Street. There was an argument about, so they've never liked Barry. My pop, Stanley Flemming, my nan, Ruby Jean Hill, so Ruby Flemming, never liked my dad's older sister, Sandra's husband, Barry Johnson. So Sandra Fleming's husband, and a massive big fight started out in the family about her being with him and getting married and so forth. So it started way back then. And they were at Rainbow Street. George said he was there. He was there with his partner, Uncle John. Uncle George is gay. And was with his life partner of 50 odd years, John. Anyway, and said that the Maltese guy who was always your pop's best friend, but he used to say it was like his brother. So, because they were both raised by, your pop's brother, they're both raised by Edith Kavanagh. That was it. Like there was a massive big fight. Apparently never liked Barry. It was what they used to always say to him, like, none of them liked him because of his drinking. So my dad's side don't drink. Like my dad's side are not big drinkers. So the argument started because Barry Johnson drinks. And this argument has gone right through my family since before I was born. So the Flemings, they don't drink, which is why I get really pissed off when I get affiliated as a Rackley, which is my mum's second husband's family. And all these people think I drink alcohol. I'm like, I'm a Fleming. The Flemings don't drink, but very rarely. It's a social thing, but the Flemings don't drink. And so here we are going right back to before I was born. And my dad's side of the family, the Flemings, getting they didn't like their daughter, my aunt Sandra, being involved with or marrying Barry Johnson, her husband, because he drinks. So this is weird. In the last 9 years, I had people think that I'm this drinker, and I'm like, no, that's my stepbrother and my stepfather. Even police thought I was. I'm like, no, again, my stepbrother, my stepfather. I'm a Fleming. I'm not a Rackley. Two different people. And then I've actually had people go, oh, personality disorder. Because doesn't his mum drink or something? Doesn't his mum's and all this crap? It's like, look, I'm a Fleming. The Flemings don't drink. And I can go back to what caused the argument in the Fleming side of the family, which was my aunt Sandra, dad's older sister, going out and then marrying Barry Johnson. And this has to do with Barry Johnson being someone that drinks alcohol, and the Flemings don't drink. And the Flemings don't drink. They're not drinkers. They're not drug users. They're not drinkers. That's the Fleming side. That's who I'm related to. The Fleming side. And it's not for any reason except they don't drink. I mean, and my view of it, it's poison. So I don't put poison in my body. So very rarely will I ever drink alcohol. I've never been any different in my entire life. It has to be something like, oh, I'm going to go out for dinner. I'm going to have a martini or something nice. I'm going to enjoy, but I'm going to have that one. And so my dad's side of the family really don't drink. My dad might of an evening after dinner have two. Well, actually, I saw him last year. After dinner, he was just having 2 brandies. Like, Dad doesn't really drink. Sit back and was just having 2 brandies. That was it. So Dad was drinking brandy. But they're not drinkers. And this is where I was really pissed off in the last 9 years. I'm like, all these people who know my mother with her second husband. It's like, yes, but I'm not related. So I don't drink alcohol. I don't use drugs. And I'm not related to my mother's second husband's family, which is the Rackleys, which you keep projecting into my life in 2 countries. And then people are like, well, he doesn't go to the pubs. He doesn't do this, doesn't do that. I'm like, yes, that's right. I don't. But I do go to cafes. I've been raised on cafe culture. And I have been raised on cafe culture. I mean, even if I want to go back to my mum's side of the family, my grandfather, all he ever did was drink coffee. And my nan used to drink coffee. She used to have a cup of tea first, then coffee, and then switch back to tea during the day. My nan used to have about 3 cups of coffee a day, and then you say that's all. She only has 3 cups, and that's it. But my dad's side drink coffee. My grandmother, Ruby Jean Hill, drank coffee all the time. She used to get this one called Pablo's coffee. It was a powdered coffee that was, okay, this is where I get the saying, oh, I have my coffee strong, my teaspoon can stand up in it. Because when I used to go to Nan, Ruby's house at Ettalong Beach, that's what she used to say. She used to use this very, like, almost Arabic coffee. So my dad's mother used to drink this coffee. I remember my uncle saying, oh, it was yuck, but it's almost Arabic coffee called Pablo's. And my dad's mother used to drink this. So my dad's mother drinks a lot of coffee, never tea. Never saw her drink tea. I used to always see her drink Pablo's coffee. And it came in a tin and was like Arabic coffee is what my dad's mother drank. And so did my dad's father used to drink it. They're massively coffee drinkers. So Stanley Flemming and Ruby, that's what they drank, was coffee. And we're not talking about like this light sort of coffee like Nescafe or something. No, we're talking about coffee that your teaspoon would stand up in it. And that's what my Nana Ruby used to say, I have my coffee strong, my teaspoon could stand up in it. It was her who said that, which is where I get that from. That saying. And she did. She used to drink really strong coffee. My dad's brother-in-law, Uncle Tony, used to go, oh, God, it was horrible. So the coffee that she used to drink. But it was actually almost like having Arabic coffee. It was so strong. And that's what Ruby used to drink. So all this crap that people keep, I never knew Ruby to ever have tea. Not until she was with her second husband. So that was well and truly, she was in her 60s then. She had a toy boy because he was about 10 years younger than her. Don't really know him, but that was Keith, I think. Look, she was getting old and she's remarried. She found love, remarried, and anyway. But her husband, my pop, is Stanley Flemming. And Ruby's the one that had all the beautiful dinner sets. So when I used to go to my nan's house growing up, and this is where my mum keeps speaking. I'm like, oh, can everyone shut up listening to my fucking mother? Just shut up listening to her. Like I say something, it's like, oh, I used to love going to my nan's house and we had all the formal setting with the silverware. She used to put the, it was always not paper napkins. It was always like beautiful, proper napkins, like material napkins and tablecloths. The whole table was set up with like, all the little dishes and cut glass bowls. She used to make her own mayonnaise, and it was always a hot lunch with her beautiful china. And the china actually was, so her brother, Uncle George, told me that was her grandmother's mother's china. And they brought that from, so it was her grandmother, which was, Elizabeth Kate Keeland King, I think her name is, and she married a Hill, but it was hers. It was, I think her name's Elizabeth Kate. I'll have it in documents, but she moved from Southampton to with her husband who was from London. They went to Dunedin, then Dunedin to Sydney, where they settled in Wallara, and their son married Ada Gray and moved to Abbotsford. And that's where my nan was born, and in Drummoyne actually, and was raised there, my nan. So I used to go to my nan's place, and it was all formal dinner setting. And I've brought this up in the last 9 years, and then you have losers that know my mum's family, and they're like, oh no, Justin's, and it's like, I'm not talking about, I don't give a fucking shit about my fucking mother's family. Don't give a shit. Don't give a shit at all. Don't care. Sick of hearing about them. Sick and tired of fucking hearing about anything to do with my mother. She's a fucking loser. We can all see that when she ran off and married her second husband. Sick of hearing about it. Thanks very much. Her parents, Reg and Lola Purdy, were sick of hearing about it. They were sick up to the fucking teeth with hearing about their fucking daughter. I was raised by Reg and Lola, my Purdy, my mum's parents, and I can tell you the only arguments they ever had to do with Carol. Everybody over the years is sick of it. Sick of it. Fed up to the teeth with it. I am. And I'm fed up to the teeth with anybody who even knows Carol or is remotely affiliated with her through even, a third degree of separation. I don't want to know. I don't care. Oh, she's dying? Why isn't she dead yet? I don't give a shit. Okay? No one does. People who were important in my life, like Reg and Lola Purdy, couldn't give a shit. That we were all hoping my mother would die before they did so they would have some peace in their life. So please, don't ever come to me if you know my mother, the area that she ran away to with her second husband, her second husband's family, or any of that shit. I don't care. I'm going to be a cunt to you back if I find out you know my mother or anybody even remotely affiliated with my mother. We're not close. We've never been close. So if you want to know me, get to know me. But I really don't give a shit what my mother does. I can't believe that she hasn't got the decency to have dropped dead before her parents, so her parents could actually have some peace in their life. Okay? Let's circle back around to my dad's side. So, as you can see here with what's shown on the screen, this is the history of the surname Flemming and where it comes from. So in history books and so forth. Now, it was Rob Van Erden who actually told me, as you can see here, where it derives from. He said, look, it's Eastern Europe. It actually comes from the area where Belgium meets France and so forth. How the name was originally spelt, because he said he knew. He's like, look, my like his name is Van. He said this is how your name would have been originally spelt, because the two M's, it means you're from. It's an old, it's a Flemish word, and it would have just had a word before that, which back in the day, so a lot of people dropped it. His family kept Van, which is Holland or and so forth. He said, and other people dropped Von. He said that just means from. He said it means it's from this area, and that's when I said, and there you go there. And I said, back in 2006, when I said that would make a great design name or an artist name to go with the fact that I always use. So my name's Justin, but back when I was studying in school and, went to Roman Catholic school, I learned the spelling. You have to learn the spelling of, when you're making your confirmation, you've got to choose another name. So you got to choose a name to be added to your name, which is what you do in making a confirmation. So you've got to study your names, and I wanted to actually have Justinian, and my teacher's like, you can't have Justin, because the spelling, so your name back in history, so before modern times, Justin spelled Justiinian. So you learned that in Roman Catholic schooling. So that's how Justin was originally spelled. And so we're going back years ago. I'm like, I'm going to use that for my art name. This is because I've always done art. I'm like, Justinian. They said, well, that's how you would have spelt. The same as other names like Mark is spelt different back in history. Like, this is all before, the modern church. I was all, modern Latin. So if you go back, you know this. Peter's spelt differently. Peter's the name I chose for my confirmation name. So you had to look at all different variations of Peter, because you had to find the saint. It had to be a saint's name that you chose. So the saint's name's going to be the old spelling. Like if you find things like Pedro or Saint Pedro or Saint Payan, different names, how it's spelled, Saint Peter. This is so ridiculous. And you always get this crap when people aren't educated in certain things that, it's different, so suddenly they're going to attack you. And it's like, really? So I used to use, even back when I'm studying in TAFE college, it's like, okay, I'm signed off as Justinian. And I thought, Justinian von Flemming. I said, that's a really good artist name. And so it's still my name, Justin and Flemming. So it's Justin Flemming, but it's spelled using old language. Still Justin Flemming, still who I am, because I'm not related to my mum's second husband's family, which is Rackley. Anyway, circle back around, as I said at the start of this, and I'm going to finish it off the same information that I got from my pop's brother-in-law, so Uncle George Hill, which is my nan's brother. So that's the other thing as well. I'm going to pin that for a sec. My twin sister Amanda knows nothing at all to do with her father's side of the family. Nothing. And the reason is my sister was always with my mother. My sister only knows what my mother has brainwashed her to know. She's only fed information that is kept her in a bubble and controlled, which is why she's never gotten away from our mother. She never did. She's copied our mother's life practically. Even at her wedding, my mum just made up bullshit recently in an email. It's like, I'll get stuffed. You just try to do she was saying, oh, we didn't have the money for a flash band, so she used the same band as what. So my twin sister's wedding, they used the same band that my mother did for her second marriage. And my mother tried to cover it up by saying they didn't have the money. It's like, the band cost more than what a DJ did. And I even said this to a man. I said, did you go and research how much you're paying for the band? Was it something like 500 or something? It's like, you can get a DJ for that. I bet you could have got a DJ, a proper wedding DJ. Why are you letting mum control your wedding? The club, why'd you have it there at the club? I even said to her, did you go and research other places, other venues? I mean, you could have had it at the powerhouse and not used, could have had a buffet at the powerhouse. A great buffet wedding at the powerhouse for the price that you had at that area. You just did what mum said to do, what she wanted, which was she was trying to recreate her wedding. And at the end, my mother caused such a drama. At my sister's wedding, my mum caused this massive big drama. She was embarrassing. We had to go and apologize to the venue. Amanda asked, she said, would you go? And this is the truth. And I'm like, oh God, because I'm driving back to Sydney and I go to the venue. I'm like, look, on behalf of Amanda and Amory Thompson, like my twin sister, Amanda Flemming, I'm really sorry. I have to apologize to the way my mother behaved. My mother actually got kicked out. So my mother is a low-life scumbag piece of shit. My mother got kicked out of my sister's wedding. Her behavior was disgusting. And that's how she's always been. No wonder her parents hate her. She's disgusting. And anyone that affiliates with my mother is just going to be on the same as she is. I mean, I look at people that go, oh, well, you still talk to Carol? Well, yeah, and you must have the same nature as her. You're disgusting. Stay away from me. Seriously. So this has been something that, we're going back for years. And I did. I actually went, the person who actually managed where my sister's, so where my sister had her wedding, the person who managed it, I worked with him in 1999 at the Powerhouse Hotel, and I went to it and I was like, oh, I'm so sorry. I knew his wife growing up when I was in musicals, and I'm there in shame going, yeah. And he's like, is that your mother? I'm like, oh, I wish I could bring dad down here with me, but my dad's just so upset with the way that his first wife behaved at his daughter's wedding. Dad's lovely. I'm there I'm trying to think of his name. I knew his wife when she sung one of the main roles in Pirates of Penzance. And then years later, I'm working with him. Oh God, I wish I could remember his name, at the Powerhouse in 1999. And I'm there going, I'm so sorry. And he goes, he's there going, Justin, I can't believe that's your mum. I'm like, oh, it's please don't look at that as a reflection on the entire family. She's just a lowie. She's disgusting. Ever since she got with her second husband, this is what we've had to put up with in the family. So my aunt Marianne's lovely. My nan Lola's lovely. Her parents are lovely. She comes from nice fit. I'm there going to explain it. And he was there. She took her shoes off in a club, and we're going, yeah. And then she argued with us at the door, and we wouldn't let her in and all this stuff. I'm like, yeah, this is her. She's a low life. She brought that Dave with her as well, her new boyfriend. So when it was bad, where they're going, it was bad enough when she got with her second husband, but now this boyfriend she's with has made her even worse. She's went from going from the Rackleys to, I don't even know what this loser's last name is that she's going out with, this Dave. We just call him the farmhand. Seriously, we call him the ranch hand is what. Even my partner at the time, John Gabino, used to work out, and Dave would say something, he goes, what's that? So John would go, what'd you say, ranch hand? To my mum's boyfriend, what'd you say? I don't know his last name. I have no idea about anything to do with him. He's just some deadbeat loser that my mum was hanging out with. And we were there, so we're so sorry. She's just a lowie. She's a real low-life piece of scum. We're so sorry. Please don't make, everyone in the family is so embarrassed by her. Miriam Mahowski, auntie's nice. She was, there. Lola Purdy, her mother, is ashamed. Like, we were all ashamed of Carol in the family. I'm so sorry, that she's done this. It was, even they were like, then some lady came into the meeting as well. And we're talking, and like, I can't believe that a mother would do that to their own daughter's wedding. And I'm sitting there going, yeah, we can. Trust me. Everybody in the family can sit back and go, yeah, that's Carol. She would do that to her own daughter. Well, she would do that to her own children from her first marriage, because her children from her first marriage are at least somewhat decent. So yeah, that's Carol. She does do things like this to people like that. So anyway, look, getting back to it, what I was saying, stop asking it. If people need to know about me, I don't know why they just ask me. So there's family members like Nan's brother, so going back to Dad's side here, where Ruby Jean, her brother, Uncle George, and what he knew about his brother-in-law. And like he even said to me, the documents will be with the Caverners. So the Caverners would have kept documents. They're one of those families who said they were a wealthy family. They used to teach so Edith Caverner used to teach your pop to play the piano. And the joke was your pop used to actually read comic books while he was supposed to be having his piano lessons. So she raised men to be gentlemen and taught them really well. And, Stanley Flemming was one of those. And Edith Kavanagh was a spinster who used to take in orphan boys. Uncle George Hill said that it was from the boat. Well, he said to me it was from the boats. There's nothing from that. So he said there were boats from Europe of orphans. Don't know if there's truth in that. That's the thing. So I don't know if there's any truth in that statement. I've asked Dad's sister, Sharon, and she said, I don't have that. So Sharon and myself used to have coffee. Sharon and myself went and had coffee up the road from where her father, my pop, was raised in Botany Bay at Botany Bay Library to try and go through family documents that's at the library to find more information. I'd love to do that again with Aunt Sharon because we both have the same love of our family history. She's lovely to be around. Doesn't drink. You can see that in my dad's side. The Fleming side doesn't drink, so you can see what decent people who don't drink are. Yeah. Anyway, they'll have a social one, but they're not drinkers. If you know what I'm saying, like they still have drunken alcohol, but they're not drinkers. Like I said, my dad, Mark Ian Fleming, after dinner one night, we just sit back and goes, "Oh, do you mind if I have a brand?" I was like, "Dad, you do you." And he sat back in and he says, I only have two. I said, yeah, no, you've never been a drinker. I was really sad in the last 9 years. I had some horrible people, some absolutely horrible assholes of people from the country, from the New England area around Tamworth and so forth that actually knew my mother's second husband's family. And they're just awful, disgusting people. They're people that you would never, ever want to affiliate with. And they projected my mother's second husband, his behavioural problems into my life and then onto my father. It's like, that's not my dad. My dad's Mark Ian Fleming. You keep coming back with me and I keep saying to you, my dad's Mark Ian Fleming, the builder, and you keep laughing at me going, no, it's Mark Rackley, the nurse. I'm like, no, that's my mother's second husband. But I have to keep telling you, and that's what disgusting people comes from New England. So you're only ever going to find disgusting pieces of shit people that come from country New South Wales areas of New England, like Tamworth and all that. Because that's what they are. They're just horrible people. I mean, I would never socialise with those assholes of people. They're fucking assholes. Like these ones that know and I'm not all of them, but I'm talking about the ones here that know my ex-stepfather. So this is like Deb Mears and Michael Long type people. And suddenly I'm getting harassed and they're making up stories about my dad. I'm like, that's not who my dad is. My dad's a lovely guy who's never barely drunk alcohol. So then my poor dad, I guess he's been part of this as well. Because when I caught up with him last year, he's like, I'm only, Dad said, do you mind if I have a brandy, Justin? I was like, no, because that's what Dad drinks. He goes, I only have two. I'm like, yeah, I know, you're not a drinker, Dad. My dad's not a drinker. Mark Ian Fleming's not a drinker. Doesn't use drugs, not a drinker. He's just a nice guy. He's a beautiful man. My stepfather's a wanker. My stepfather's a deadbeat loser, and that's who these people know. My stepfather's an alcoholic. He's got mental health issues. He's had suicide, depression, deep-seated depression. This is my stepfather, not my father. Alcohol abuse, drug abuse, cannabis abuse, and all of his children, so all of my stepfather's children are the same. But I keep telling these people from the country town area who knew my stepfather, but this is not me. I keep telling you that there's Daniel Rackley, who you nurses know, which is Mark Rackley's son from his first marriage, who lived in Tamworth. And Mark Rackley's, that nurse, isn't my father. So I actually had people from a Freemason nursing home called Moonby House harass me over my ex-stepfather, Mark Jeffrey Rackley, and his son from his first marriage, Daniel Rackley, and their behaviour. So all I can do is tell people, don't ever go or affiliate with people from the New England area, like Tamworth in that area. They're just disgusting assholes of people that it doesn't matter how many times you tell these people, yeah, you're talking about someone else, they're just going to keep harassing you. Like, there's such stupid people that over the years, I'm like, yeah, my last name's Flemming. And they're like, oh, no, it's like, but I've already told you, Mark Rackley's not my father. You were told this. And it's like, wow, you people are just horrible people. Because it's so disrespectful. I mean, they don't see it because they've got their heads shoved so far up their ass that they just think that they're great people. Yet they're the biggest pieces of shit people. Like, you always find this in those types of areas. They're just wankers of people. I would never socialise with anyone like that. There's absolute fucking wankers of people. So they were like, it doesn't matter. It's like, hang on, we've already gone through this again. My mother moved here with her second husband. My mother moved here back in April 1989, and repetitively, you're told the same thing ever since. I mean, I went back home to Sydney. I wasn't going to follow my mother around with her bullshit, entertaining my mother's crap that she carries on with her second husband. So I stayed back home in Sydney. And those people kept getting told the same thing. It's like, you were already told this. I can give you so many times from this date to that date to that date that you were told this. Like, oh my God, you people are such disrespectful losers. How many times have you been told the same thing now? So you go for it again and be like, I can go back to 1992 and other times. I can go back to when in 1995, I'm getting my photo taken for the newspaper, and the person who took the photo, whatever, knew my mother through Pony Club. And I'm there saying, my last name's Flemming. And they go, oh, he wants to be called Flemming. Put down Rackley. His last name's Rackley. I'm like, I don't want to be called Flemming. My last name is Flemming. So I would like to be called who I am, thank you very much, which is Justin Mark Flemming. You're the one that doesn't listen. They're just really horrible. And especially when in that time too, 1995, my stepbrother, Daniel Rackley, was living in Tamworth. Yeah, he was living there. I think he went to, I'm not sure what school he was going to. But anyway, yeah, he was, around that time, was living there. And they're just assholes of people. It's like, wow, you people, I mean, you will say this, I'll say the same thing again. Like, even this is going on recently. It happened in America. Some loser. And it's like, he goes, oh, I knew you as Rackley. I said, impossible. Impossible. Because if you ever called me Rackley, I would turn around and say, my last name's Flemming. Don't call me Rackley. So absolutely impossible that you would know that. You're just a stubborn asshole, or you're just a country prick that has your head shoved up your ass, and really someone should pull your head out of your ass and smack your head in, because that's what these people deserve. They're just assholes of people. They're absolute assholes of people. Absolute biggest assholes of people you would ever met in your entire life. And this just shows how many years they can just treat people. And they think they're entitled. They think they're entitled to do it. They're just lying pieces of shit people that they behave in a way that, oh no, we're righteous, or we've got communities and villages and shit. It's like, no, but you're a lying piece of shit. You're an absolute piece of shit people. I don't want to affiliate with people like you. You're absolute assholes. Like, I mean, despite the fact that I live most of my life in the city and happily, done so, where you don't even know your own neighbour because you're too busy living your life in the city. So that I don't do communities or anything like that. Neither do my grandparents. They're city people. Besides that, these country people, they're just assholes. They're wankers. Especially anyone you're ever going to meet from the New England area, and absolute fuckwits of people. If you have to keep going to someone We've just said this yesterday. You've done it again. I'm there going, Mark Rackley isn't my father. Mark Flemming, the builder, is my father. We're going around in circles here. I just told you this yesterday. I told you yesterday, don't call me Rackley. My last name's Flemming. And you could keep repeating yourself to these people. And it's like, wow, you people are real fucking wankers. You're just as disrespectful assholes of people, aren't you? So they are. But that's people that, even the ones that would know my mother's second husband and so forth. So this is where there's all this crap started, even in 2017. It's like, sorry, my last name is Flemming, and the history of my surname Flemming is derived from a certain area. And I don't know why you people are bringing up this now. And even my dad's side cousins, who I never knew back in 2006, brought it up. I'm like, what's it got to do with you? I'm a Flemming and I carry the last name Flemming. Your mother was a Flemming, but your father's not. So out of all the Flemmings, I am the last male Flemming alive. Fuck off. If I want to go and research where my surname that my dad passed on to me, that his father passed on to him, if I want to find out where that comes from, and I'm speaking about this back in 2006 to Rob Van Ergen, what the hell has it got to do with you? And I'm looking at these cousins on dad's side that never even knew me in 2006 going, like, seriously? What's it got to do with you? If I'm talking about the history of the name, I know from even sitting with our Uncle George, what he told me about the name. So I don't really care what your putting your two bobs worth in. Sorry, nothing. Like, your mother married and's got a different last name, basically, like say my dad's sister, for an example. Oh yeah, my dad's sister was a Fleming, but then she married. So she takes on her husband's name and all her children have the husband's name. So what is it to do with you if I'm researching anything to do with who I am because I carry the name Fleming, you don't? And they have attitude. It's like, don't give me attitude. Seriously, don't give me attitude. There is Stanley Flemming, my pop, dad's father. There is Mark Ian Flemming, my father, who's a lovely man. And then there's myself, Justin Mark Flemming. And then that's it. So if I want to find out through the Flemming men information, then I can do that. That's my prerogative, thanks. You go live your life and do you. I'll do me.